Hi guys, welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. I'm Nivedita Raje and I'm sorry I'm late. There was some technical difficulty. Anyhow, finally the application form is out and the consortium has made everything clear now. The structure of the exam, the pattern still remains the same. Like I told you, the number of questions changed. 30% questions decreased and now we have 120 questions that we have to solve. So let us start. Now the press release, the first press release was on May 23rd, as all of you know, and on May 23rd the consortium announced that instead of the exams would be conducted on December 3. उसके बाद का जो declaration आया या notification आया, it said that the number of questions would decrease. Now we have 120 questions instead of 150. So that was the relief, but the repercussions and whatever that entails is something that we have already discussed. Question decrease का मतलब ये नहीं कि आपको अब कम तैयारी करनी पड़ेगी या कम पढ़ाई करनी पड़ेगी. It definitely does not mean that now you have to work lesser or you have to put in lesser effort. No, the effort remains the same. 30% decrease in the question, same pattern. In fact, it makes things more complicated, and what are the complications is something that we have already discussed, so not going into that. Now, since they have finally released everything, what is going to be in the paper, how is it going to be? So this is all from the website only. The UG CLAT would focus on evaluating comprehension and reasoning skills, so that remains the same. A child or a student is required to have good reading skills, of course, right? That is something that you cannot really discard. Reading is an inherent part of CLAT, still is. It used to be, still is. Reasoning or comprehension skills आपकी बहुत solid होनी चाहिए, because you need to solve passages or read passages and then solve questions relating to the passages. So the exam pattern is more aptitude based rather than knowledge based, which means that they test you on the basis of your aptitude skills, not really your knowledge. Although if you have knowledge, conceptual understanding is very important, especially legal and logical, quants also, English a little bit. तो conceptual clarity भी बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि पेपर का पैटर्न ऐसा है कि concepts, comprehension, aptitude, reading, सब कुछ चाहिए इस पेपर में. A student is required to be equipped with everything, okay, not just knowledge. तो रट्टा मार के अब क्लैट को तो नहीं दिया जा सकता. It shall be a 2-hour test with 120 multiple choice questions, 1 mark each. It is a negative mark paper, which means 0.25 would be deducted for every wrong answer. So watch out while solving the question paper. Do not solve the question unless you are at least 90% sure. और आप बहुत ज़्यादा guesswork भी नहीं कर सकते, because if you do too much guesswork, well, you might end up losing marks. Right, so it's not really about solving as many number of questions as you can, but it actually depends on the accuracy and the efficiency. So try to solve correct questions, or try to solve questions which you know, rather than trying to solve as many questions as you can. तो 150 questions में से पूरे 150 मत करो. अगर 80 आते हैं तो 80 ही करो, बाकी सब छोड़ दो. Okay, that is the idea. So the division of this paper remains the same. The paper still tests you on English, current affairs including GK, legal reasoning, logical and quant. 5 sections remain the same. Then let's discuss section wise. Section wise pattern बिल्कुल same है. They still are asking questions from the passages. The length of the passage, the basic, the basic underlying, pattern of the exam remains absolutely the same. पैसेज अभी भी 450 वर्ड्स का ही होगा, कोई लेंथ नहीं बढ़ी है. सो द पैसेज फ्रॉम इंग्लिश इज गोइंग टू बी अबाउट 450 वर्ड्स ईच. दीज पैसेजेस कैन बी टेकन फ्रॉम एनीवेयर, स्पेशली इन इंग्लिश. कोई भी और छोड़ नहीं होता. दे कैन पिक आउट अ पैसेज फ्रॉम अ न्यूज़पेपर और मे बी फ्रॉम अ फेरी टेल. सिंड्रेला, अलादीन से भी कुछ आ सकता है और इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स से भी कुछ आ सकता है. लेकिन इसको सॉल्व कैसे करना है? हाउ डू यू सॉल्व इंग्लिश पैसेजेस? व्हाट इज कंपेटिटिव इंग्लिश? दैट it is something that you are already being trained in. So use your training, use your knowledge. You need to read and comprehend the main point discussed in the passage. Idea of the passage is very important. Basically, what the author is trying to tell you is the entire idea behind the kindly speak English. What am I speaking? What language am I using? Am I not using English? I mean, you know, in between sometimes I might resort to Hindi, but it is not that I'm adding anything new. It is always going to be English majorly. But if I use a little bit Hindi, it is mostly the translation of what I've already said, right? So don't worry about it. Anyhow, so you need to read and comprehend the main point discussed in the passage. Like I said, the idea of the passage, the tone of the passage, the point of view of the author is something that you need to understand when you are reading the passage. Arguments, viewpoints discussed or set out in the passage, then you need to draw inferences and conclusions based on the passage, summarize the passage, compare and contrast the different arguments or viewpoint, understand the meaning of various words. Now this is what we call contextual learning. That is how you solve English passages, right? So the vocab based questions or the antonyms, synonyms, meanings, etc., they all are asked from the passage itself. So you do not define the word literally, you define it or you figure out the synonym from a contextual point of view. What does it mean in the passage? What context is it used in? That is how you solve the vocab based questions. Again, something that you've already been trained in, so I'm sure you understand what this is saying. Now we have current affairs. Current affairs, it is an infinite syllabus, of course. So the consortium does not really expect you to just mug up the facts. No, it is not how this exam is based. So whenever you are reading a particular segment in the exam, whatever it is, it might be anything. For example, let's say you are reading about a judgment in the newspaper. Now that judgment might be from a Delhi High Court. So they won't ask you everything that is given in the passage. They expect you to know everything from a wholesome picture. So if there is a judgment that is being discussed by various newspapers, there have been critical analysis, debates, controversies going on, right? So you need to have an entire idea of the judgment, like what points is it based on, what are the issues that it is based on. Delhi High Court, information about Delhi High Court because the judgment is being delivered by the Delhi High Court. Basically what I'm trying to say is you need to have a whole perspective of what is going on in the world and in your country, and that is what consortium also expects you to do. You need to have information from all four corners. You cannot just mug up Lucent and PD and attempt CLAT. That's not how it works anymore. You need to have a deep understanding of what is happening, right? I take newspaper classes and I tell you how to read newspapers and what to do while reading the newspaper. What are the points? You need to read in between the lines. So that skill is something that I am training you in. All you need to do is attend those sessions and you'll get the grasp. Each passage is followed by a series of questions that will require you to demonstrate your awareness of various aspects of current affairs, GK, contemporary events of significance from India and the world, might be art, culture, international affairs, historical events of continuing significance. So they won't really resort to static GK. They don't do it. They won't ask you in which year second battle of Panipat or the first battle of Panipat was fought. They won't ask you that. But if it somehow is brought up by someone, right, there is a debate going on about Mughal rule and the battles that were fought. Panipat was, a big one. Second especially, not the first. How can we increase? First and second, both actually. Both the wars were very important for the Mughal rule. Anyhow, so if it is somehow in relevance, being discussed about, quoted somehow, being discussed about the editors or the authors, then it might have a certain importance. But then that importance will be discussed in the sessions that we take by Abhimanyu sir or Salik sir. How can you increase the marks, Varsha? I have taken a class on what to do to increase mock marks, and I did it yesterday. It was an entire 45 minute session. It is available for free on BYJU'S exam prep portal, right? So all that you can do in order to increase your marks, that session will guide you. It will give you tips and strategies. So instead of, giving a short or a brief introduction on it, why don't you just watch it? You can watch that session, it will give you a better idea. The topic will be on current debates. Yes, likely. Exactly, Garima, you completely got it. So, like Garima is mentioning, for example, if there is a news about UNESCO, can they ask when was UNESCO formed? Exactly like that. That is what the wholesome perspective is. If you're reading about something, if some entity or body or a person is in news, you need to know about that person, the historical background as well, right? So, yes, that is exactly, you got it. That's how you read GK. That's how you prepare for competitive GK. Then we have legal reasoning. Everyone understands legal reasoning. Legal reasoning concepts, clarity, understanding is crucial. You cannot attempt legal reasoning passages without having an idea of what those passages stand for. What are the principles? What is law of torts? What is law of constitutions? What is crimes? What is contract? The basic peripheral understanding of these laws is must. Concerning other laws that might be asked, miscellaneous, international, family, etc., they become relevant only if there's something related to them in the news. For example, I discussed a passage a few days back, not a passage but a news segment on the portal and YouTube, of course. It was a newspaper reading session in which I was telling you what happened to the ship which was transporting many people. Right, so it was a vessel in between international waters and it drowned, it sank, and it took down with itself thousands of passengers. And that ship was an unlicensed illegal vessel that was carrying illegal migrants and people who were unaware of where they were being taken to, basically using them for either trafficking or organ trading, etc. Now, since it happened on international waters and UN took care of it, there are protocols regarding illegal migration and smuggling of human beings for organ trading and using them for prostitution, etc. So there are different protocols given by United Nations, and those protocols have been ratified by majority of the countries. Now, this is an international incident and it contains a lot of laws, international laws, UN laws, protocols, the laws of the country, of course. So, all of it becomes important, international perspective se. And that is how the international law is going to be asked. Similarly, if there is an interpretation that Supreme Court may have released or any High Court, Delhi High Court, Allahabad High Court have released with regard to special marriage or marriage status or anything related to marriage or family matters or personal matters, religious matters, it becomes important from family law point of view. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you do not need to know every law that is there in the country, of course not. Basic laws are only constitution, contracts, torts and criminals. But with regard to other laws, if they are discussed in the newspaper for any reason, amendment, policy discussion, change in regulation, application, judgment, whatever it is, right, then they become important and then you have to read them. Not the entire law, but only the segment that relates to the law, a little bit of information relating to that segment only, understanding of the sections that were discussed, understanding of the law that is being discussed, new and old, if there was an amendment, and that's how you prepare for miscellaneous laws, right? The passages again are going to be 450 words. I'm still expecting, as we'll discuss how many passages are going to be, what weightage does legal reasoning have now is something that we are going to discuss in few seconds, right? So you need to have a sorry, like I said, you need to have a prior understanding, because if you read legal passage for the first time in your life, it's very difficult to understand the principles. Law is complicated. Right, so in order to properly understand the passage and apply the principles in the given set of questions, you need to know the concept beforehand, right? It makes it easy first and it saves a lot of time. That is why conceptual understanding of law is important. Now you already understand what kind of questions might be asked. These are inference based questions, application based questions, yes and no questions. So there might be multiple principles involved in a passage. They expect you to understand those principles, and then those principles are applied to the factual situation given to you as questions. What type of questions could come in the topic such as UCC? UCC is a directive principle. It is mentioned as a directive principle, right? The states shall endeavor to work towards UCC. Although we do not have UCC, but it is an important constitutional provision. So, directive principles or part 4 becomes immediately important. Now, is there any law that has come out in application of directive principle? Any amendment or any policy formation which a state has done or center has done keeping directive principles in mind, that becomes important. Is studying articles in a constitution required? No, they're not required. You don't need to memorize any section. You don't need to memorize an article or a section. Guys, am I visible, audible? Am I stuck? Can you all see me? Can you all hear me? Video stopped. Video is paused. You still can hear me. Audio is clear, but video is not. What is the point if you cannot see me move? You can still hear me? Okay. Okay. Well, I have intimated this problem to the concerned people. They would be doing something immediately. Hi guys, you can all see me now. I think the video will move now. Legal reasoning done. Logical reasoning. Logical reasoning is something the students take a little bit lightly, but guys, it is one of the most important sections in the paper. Legal, GK and logical. If you are good at these 3 subjects, it is very probable that you will be able to qualify CLAT, and that too with good score, good understanding, and not just understanding but a good score and a good marks, a good rank. Right, so this is the reason why I always tell you that never take logical reasoning lightly. So everything that is available on BYJU'S exam prep portal with regard to logical reasoning, and everything that is available from logical reasoning on YouTube, you need to attend all the sections. There is not even a single session that is not important. Okay, all the sessions are obviously important, but then logical reasoning is it has a special significance. The reason is that, you know, most of the students ignore it. Most of the students do not work as hard as they should in logical reasoning. They continue putting efforts in GK and legal, but they completely forget the other 3 sections, logical being one of them. If you work harder in these 3 sections, your chances of qualifying CLAT becomes, more positive. The chances become more, because every person, every student is on the same level when it comes to GK and legal. All the students, they have the same level, on the same pedestal. Their understanding is the same. They could not have done more than you have. They would have studied from the same sources, maybe different sources, but the information, the idea would be the same. The knowledge would be the same. But this is where you can play the field. This is where you can gain an advantage. So whatever sessions we have taken with regard to CLAT 24 logical reasoning, I would urge you to start watching them right now. You only have 5 months remaining. If you put in proper effort, only logical quant and English. Just do logical, quant and English for this entire month. I'm not asking you not to do legal and GK, but but do logical, legal and GK a little less than all the other 3 sections. और अगर आप इस पूरे महीने में लॉजिकल, इंग्लिश और क्वांट्स पे पूरा का पूरा फोकस लगा देते हैं तो आपको जितनी भी whatever problems you were facing, the problems that you constantly complain about, my marks are not increasing, etc., those problems will go away. The only method is to focus on logical. Now again, the similar pattern, 450 words, you need to recognize an argument, premise the conclusion, read and identify the arguments set out in the passage. Critical analysis of reasoning assesses how conclusions may depend on particular premise. You understand what logical reasoning is, what kind of questions are asked. You have been watching videos, you know what your syllabus is. So I would, suggest that you revise the concepts and start solving at least 2 passages every day from logical. If you are serious about qualifying CLAT, if you are serious about qualifying CLAT with a good rank and a good score to get into a good college, a tier 1 college, top 10, logical, English and quants cannot be ignored. 2 passages from logical reasoning, 2 passages from English and 2 passages from quantitative every day. Make this a habit till the day of your exam. Besides mocks and sectional tests, make sure that you are revising 6 passages divided equally, logical, English and QT, and do this till the day of the exam, till 2nd of December. You would not, regret it, trust me. Then we have QT techniques, QT section of the UG includes short sets of facts, propositions, textual representations of numerical information followed by a series of questions. You will be required to derive information from passages, questions, apply mathematical operations. So you are given a set of passage in which there are, you remember those problem questions that you had in mathematics, right? There was a situation, Ram is walking at this speed, Ramesh is walking at this speed, what would be something. So it is, the QT in CLAT is more or less the same. It's just that you need to make tables so that you can solve the questions, right? So whatever the passage is telling you, just keep making table, make Ramesh as 1, make Ram as 1, and see what the statistics are, what the numbers are, then solve the questions immediately. The questions are not too difficult, they're actually easy. Just very simple arithmetic, very simple geometry, a very, very basic arithmetic in geometry, and the other concepts that you must have a better idea about. Ratio, proportion, basic algebra, basic mensuration. Actually, mensuration is something that is not really asked. I mean, they have, I don't know why they write mensuration as statistical estimation. This is something that cannot be really put in a passage and then asked. So you won't have questions from mensuration or statistical estimation. But if you might, what kind of questions might there be is something that we shall discuss. Ankur sir will teach you how to do mensuration questions from a CLAT point of view. So make sure that you are regular and religious. Should we start quant in the beginning or in the end? क्वांट में पैसेजेस समझ में नहीं आते, इसलिए नहीं आते क्योंकि आप सॉल्व नहीं करना चाहते हैं, ठीक है, इसलिए नहीं समझ आते हैं. बिकॉज यू हैव क्रिएटेड अ बैरियर इन योर हेड दैट आई वोंट बी एबल टू डू क्वांटिटेटिव, आई वोंट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. अब जब तुमने मान ही लिया, यू हैव बिलीव्ड इट योर सेल्फ, यू हैव मेड योर माइंड एंड हार्ट एंड योर हैंड्स बिलीव दैट यू वोंट बी एबल टू डू इट, हाउ विल यू बी एबल टू डू इट? क्यों नहीं कर सकते तुम मैथ्स? क्यों नहीं समझ आते? क्या तुम्हें इंग्लिश नहीं समझ आती? क्या तुम्हें 2 + 2 4 करना नहीं आता? क्या तुम्हें 2 × 2 4 करना नहीं आता? क्या नहीं आता तुम्हें? जब तुम 9वीं 10वीं में थे तब तुमने मैथ्स छोड़ दिया था कि मैं मैथ्स का पेपर नहीं दूंगा, मुझसे नहीं होती मैथ्स. डिड यू डू दैट? ऑफ कोर्स नॉट. डू नॉट क्रिएट अ बैरियर इन योर हेड. It is a competitive exam. Even if you don't like it, you have to do it. Nobody likes GK, but people have to do it. Maths, I know people find maths scary, but it is not as scary. They're not asking you applied advanced mathematics, you know, integration, differentiation, sets, binomial theorems and whatnot. They're asking you basic mathematics, basic arithmetic, जो कि 9th-10th में पढ़ा था. उसको करना मुश्किल नहीं है, बस आपको थोड़ी प्रैक्टिस की जरूरत है. You might not have had practice for an year and a half, obviously, I understand. 10th के बाद आपके पास हो सकता है मैथ्स ना रही हो, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आप बेसिक कैलकुलेशन अभी भी नहीं कर सकते. बेसिक कैलकुलेशन वो आदमी भी कर सकता है जो कभी स्कूल नहीं गया. तो आप तो अच्छे पढ़े लिखे हैं, राइट? तो ये बेसिक कैलकुलेशन वाले ही सब है, बस इंग्लिश को पढ़ के समझने की देर है. अगर आपको दिक्कत होती है तो आप 2 पैसेजेस को रोज सॉल्व करिए, 5-10 क्वेश्चंस रोज क्यूटी के लगाइए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी, सब आने लगेगा. Can CLAT syllabus be completed in 4 months? Syllabus be completed? Well, you have to put in a lot of effort and a lot of time, at least 6 to 7 hours every day. If you can do that much, yes, it can be completed. I mean, 5 to 6 hours minimum, if you can devote to CLAT every day till the day of your exam, you can complete the syllabus. But it's not just about completing the syllabus, you know, there are other skills that you need. It's not only completing the syllabus that would get you to qualify this exam. You need to have a good understanding of all the other things as well, comprehension and reading ability and, you know, English command a little bit obviously, but the comprehension, the retaining, the ability to read quickly, the accuracy, the efficiency. So besides the preparation, there are other skills that need to be focused upon equally. So if you can denote a certain time, you know, a good time to preparation and practice simultaneously while working on the other skills, which would obviously take time, 5 to 6 hours, like I said, you definitely can prepare, revise and practice at the same time and qualify CLAT. Should you do quant in the beginning or last? See, what passage or what section you take in the beginning or the end is completely your discretion. I mean, I would keep it somewhere in the middle. I would start with GK. If I were you, I would start with GK because that would take the least amount of time. Either I know a question or I don't know a question. So, you know, the section that can be done in over 5 to 6 minutes is something that I would decide to do first. And uske baad I would go to English and then quants, then logical, then legal. So that's how I would do it. Baki, you know, there is no single straight jacket formula of what section to attempt first. But GK ideally should be attempt first. This is the question paper format. This is what consortium has declared. The number of questions that are going to be this time. This is what it is. 120 questions, 2 hours. Multiple choice questions, 1 mark each, 0.25 for negative marking. The weightage is as follows. 20 to 26 questions, roughly about 20% of the paper is English language, same. 28 to 30 questions, 32 questions from GK current affairs. Again 28 to 30 questions from legal reasoning. 22 to 26 questions from logical. 10 to 14 questions from QT. So the percentage remains the same. GK and legal still remain to be the major sections. They comprise for 50% of the paper. And the remaining 50% is divided into other sections. The number of questions is definitely less. There used to be 28 questions or 30 questions from English language. I'm hoping that, you know, it would be 25 this time. So 20 to 25 के बीच में रहेंगे English के और logical के questions. Legal questions might still be the maximum. You might have what? 35 questions, I think 30 to 35 questions from legal reasoning and maybe 25 to 30 questions from GK and the remaining would be obviously asked in QT. So that's how it might be. बाकी देखो तुम्हें पता तो चली गया है. This is what the pattern is and this is what the division is going to be. This is how the division is going to be. Now the CLAT application form is out. Everybody understands it, right? The application form filling has started from 1st of July and it will continue till 3rd November. So do not wait till the end of time because, you know, everyone waits till the end of time only. Don't do it. When you fill the form, this early, you do it with a clear head, so you'd be able to fill it properly. Choosing college preference, etc., is something that you need pondering over. So decide your preference based on various parameters: the placement, the internship, the proximity of that college to your hometown. Everything should be considered. The goal that you have set for yourself in future. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a judge? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to end up in corporate? Do you want to work in a company as a legal advisor? What is it that you want to do? See the placement, the placement offers and the internship opportunities that are given to the students in these fields. Which college trains you better to become a judicial officer? This is something that you can find online. So if you do it right now, if you fill the form right now, you can do it with a... You are a PCB student shifting to CLAT. How should you start? Shubham. Well, I would suggest that you start taking sessions that are being conducted and you start solving passage based questions. That's how you are going to start. Obviously, before that you need to have an idea of the syllabus. So I am assuming that you already know the syllabus of CLAT, even if you haven't started. Yeah, I know, I could see it. I'm also in front of me. Just hold on. Few minutes. Just few seconds, guys. Just few seconds. Guys, just few more seconds. Hi, now I'm moving again. I don't know what what is wrong with the equipment. Everything is giving up. Everything is giving up actually today. Anyhow, so the CLAT application form is out. I already told you how to fill the application form and why you need to be careful while filling out the application form. So enrollment has opened on 1st of July, will close on 3rd November. So like I said, make my advice in your head, keep my advice in your head, keep it into consideration. Now these are the documents that you need with the online application, so make sure that you have them before you start filling the form. Okay, it's front facing passport size recent photograph with a plain background, signature, category certificate if you are applying under a category, relevant certificate issued by competent authority if you are applying for any disability, relevant certificate if you are applying under a BPL category. PWD is physically disabled, BPL is below poverty line. Right, so there are only few colleges that take BPL category into consideration, but if you are belonging to the category, you need the privilege of BPL category. You need to have the relevant certificate with yourself while filling out the form. Okay. The original certificates issued by the competent authorities specified in the brochure are to be submitted to the allotted university in the form and manner specified by the respective universities at the time of admissions. So mind you, these PWD certificates and the quota certificates, reservation certificates and the BPL certificates, generally when you are going for counseling, the college takes the original document from you and they keep it with themselves as part of their record, right? So make sure that you have that one, and see the format. The format keeps changing. BPL format, domicile format. If there's a domicile requirement, you need to have a domicile also, by the way. Okay, I don't know why they haven't mentioned it, but you need to have a domicile certificate too. So if it is required, so have domicile, your category certificate, your BPL certificate, if any, PWD certificate, if any, and keep the photo stats as well. Original will definitely be submitted, but make sure that you have copies of it, okay, before you submit the original. Photograph and signature of the candidate need not be attested while submitting the online application form. Attestation is signing on it, so you don't need that. All document certificates need to be uploaded in the PDF format only. Okay, so make sure that they refer or they are from the recent format. They will mention you the guidelines as to what format they are asking, whether 2005 or 2010 or 15 or 18. Right, so see that, make sure that you are reading all of that. Application fee can be paid online only for general, OBC, PWD, NRI, PIO, OCI candidates 4,000, SC, ST, BPL 3,500. Cost of previous year question papers is 500. It is not included in the admission paper. So if at all you need access to previous year question paper, I would suggest not to pay. All of them are available on Google. So just it might take a little bit of effort, but make sure that you'll be able to find it. Don't pay. Candidate themselves will have to bear the bank transaction charges for remitting the fee online. The actual bank charges will be displayed in the payment gateway. Application fee is non-refundable. So even if you don't qualify the exam, they won't refund you this hefty amount. Admit card hall ticket can be downloaded by the candidate by logging into his account. The exact date on which the admit card will be available will be notified to you, and we shall tell you, like we told you this. Right, so that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much, and do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. This video is important. The information relating to CLAT and the recent updates is also important. Make sure that you have watched it thoroughly, and those of you who joined late, please watch it once again. I shall see you very soon. Till then, everyone, take care. Thank you so much.